Ain't no question if I want it. I need it. I need it. You know better, so you did better. Huh? More of a real bitch in my pussy. Goddamn, I'm starting already. I'm already hot in this bitch. I need to fucking turn the fan on or some shit before I start sweating on a bitch for real. Let me do that shit right now. Hold on. Yeah, fuck that shit. I had to turn on the fan. This shit was getting hot on a bitch already. More of a real bitch in my pussy wetter. Yo, tell me why I not even barely. My sister barely found out about that song yesterday. Cause she don't have TikTok or anything like that. And I was like, hey, you heard that one song on TikTok or whatever or some shit? And she was like, no. And then I told her about it. I was like, you know better, so you did better. Huh? And she was like, what the hell? And I was like, more of a real bitch in my pussy wetter. Yo, that shit was so funny because when I said the word pussy and shit, I was like, pussy. Like, I fucking emphasized it. I was like, more of a real bitch in my pussy wetter. My bad, y'all. That's just the immature side of me, which is funny as shit, honestly. I need to tap into that more. Oh, shit, man. But how's everybody doing? How's everybody been? This is the No Signal Podcast, I believe, episode 90. Shit. Going on 90 episodes strong. But yeah, man, low key, what the fuck is that? I don't know what the fuck that is. Yeah, low key, it's been a long time ever since I first did the first episode of the podcast and shit. And I was just like looking back, I was like, damn, like this is barely when I freaking like, when a certain moment in my life like shifted and shit like that. I'm not going to go into too much details, but I'm going to just say that I had like, my girl with me at the time was living with me and stuff during my first episode. Like literally, like when I made the first episode, she was in the other room, in my room, sleeping and shit, taking a nap. And like as time went on, then, like she ended up moving out. We split. And yeah, sometimes I don't want to talk about it, but I know that one of these days I'm going to have to talk about it on the podcast and shit. Like, cause it's like a big, like, it's not a big secret, but it's just like a big, like, big moment in my life. You know what I mean? Especially like you never truly know someone until you like live with them. I'm going to just leave it at that. You never truly know someone until you see their ways and stuff like that and know their ways and see their certain characteristics. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Like, yeah, it's cool and everything, like, oh, like spending the night at, homegirl's house and shit like that, but not like living with them, like living, like, yeah, gotta wake up with them, go to sleep with them. Like, just do all that shit with each other and shit like that, man. That's just crazy. But either way, like, yeah, that shit was a crazy ass time in my life. We're not together anymore and shit. So that's another motherfucking story, in case you ain't know. Mr. Dollar in the gym, in case you ain't know. Mr. Dollar in the gym, in case you ain't know. Yo, I don't know why food. Like, I remember I had some dude like cracking up one time when I said that in school and shit. We was like doing that after school tutoring shit. It wasn't tutoring, but it was just like after school, like catch up on work and shit. And me, I was just fucking around. Like, there was. Let me get into this. Like, school times, bro. Before I get into the basketball, all that shit in the segment and stuff. Yo, school times was fucking hilarious, bro. And when I was in high school and shit, people would always tell me, "Oh, you better enjoy it now, because after high school, then it's like, then it's the real world." And I'll be like, "Man, like what the fuck? Like I'm be getting money, you know what I mean?" Like I was like, "Man, fuck you, I'm be getting money and shit." Like fuck is you talking about? But I didn't really understand what they meant until like shit ended and everybody just went their own separate ways, got their separate fam, or made their own family and shit, and then they just took off with that shit. But it's just like crazy, not crazy, but it's just like, it's like, bruh, I ain't talking about the dog, you know what I mean? Nah, I'm just replying to someone's fucking message and shit. But no, real shit. Like I never really understood what they meant by that and shit. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, no, like fuck school. I fucking hate school. Like, the stereotypical fucking, hate school shit. So that was like my whole mindset in school and shit. Just like, man, fuck school. Like I ain't finna be here too long, man. Fuck this shit. Like, oh, you going to college? Shit, I'm be working. I'm be getting money. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. That's how like, and like that's how my fucking mindset was back then and shit. Obviously now it's like changed and shit, but back then that's how it was and shit. So there was this time we was after school just like catching up on work and shit, and I was just like singing lyrics and shit like I always do, you know what I mean, just random ass lyrics. Like I would always like say them and shit or rap them or whatever and shit like that. Like I remember this one chick, she always wanted me to rap this one J. Cole verse, lost ones or some shit like that. How does it go? Oh, I was like, I ain't too proud to tell you that I cry sometimes, but and then she was just like, like laughing and shit, and I was just like, huh, bitch. No, just, I just, yeah. That's that one Vine, that Casey Frey Vine. He was like, hey, Derek. Like he was portraying as a girl. He's like, hey, Derek. And then he's like, what's up, bitch? And then she's like, oh, like bless you. And then he's like, bitch. Like he stuck out his tongue. He's like, bitch. And then she's like, oh, like, like she was getting moist or some shit. I don't even know. This shit's fucking hilarious. Damn, why does it feel like I'm faded right now? I don't even feel like I feel faded, but I didn't even smoke. You know what I mean? And one of the homies too in the Discord too. I ain't been in Discord in a minute, but last time I went, he told me, it was like, hey, when you record, do you record faded? And I was just like, nah. Like I was like, nah, why? He's like, bro, you look high like all the time and shit. And that's so funny he said that shit. Cause to other people, like or well, to him, I might, seem faded and shit. But to other people, I look Filipino and shit. You know what I mean? They think I look they think I look Filipino until I talk and shit like that. Until they hear my Riverside accent and shit like that. God damn. They think I'm Filipino until they hear my Riverside accent. Then they're like, "Oh no, you're not Filipino. You're a phony. You're a phony Pino." You know what I mean? You know. Like when I went to the Jew League, one of the homeboys, he's like, hey, are you Filipino? And I was like, nah, I'm Mexican. And then he was like, I was like, why, I look Filipino? He's like, yeah. And he was like nodding his head like that. He's like, yeah. And then the other like photographer dude, next to me and shit, I asked him, I was like, hey, dude, do I look Filipino? And he's Filipino. And he was like, nah. And then I was just like, oh shit, like, and I was thinking, I was like, to some people I might look Filipino, to some other people I might look, you know what I mean? It's just like so weird how we see different people in different ways than other people. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this guy, you know what I mean? He might be a good guy to me, but to you, he might be a fucking bitch. He might be a fucking asshole or some shit like that. You know what I mean? But that's just the way it is and shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, back to that school shit. I used to be singing all the lyrics like Mr. Dollar in the dream in case you ain't know. And then there was another one where I fucking like it was so funny. Wait, oh yeah, that was the other weekend, the fights and shit. I'm about to get into the whole fucking the Paul and Diaz fight right now in a bit. Let me just say this. When I went to watch the UFC fight the other day at my last episode and shit, I was talking to my day one. I was talking to my day one's, girlfriend and shit. And then my day one, he don't like J. Cole like that. He don't fucks with J. Cole, but his girlfriend do. And I don't know how we started talking about the music and shit. And then I mentioned J. Cole, and I was just like, man, I wish I would have seen J. Cole this year, 2018, for the KOD tour, because that KOD album, that shit is fire, bro. Especially Brackets. Brackets is like the best fucking track on that album to me. Niggas hating on me, I ain't used to that. You know what I mean? So I was like, talking to her or whatever and shit. And then I told her, I was like, I used to rap J. Cole while I beat him on FIFA and shit like that. No, some real shit. Like he might call cap and shit. He might say I'm bullshitting or whatever. But I used to be like playing and shit, and I'll be like, I'm passing up on bad hoes. You know what I mean? Like that song She Knows. He's like, what these bitches want from a nigga? Also DMX shit. And I was like, no, the mother niggas up tricking. Also BMX shit. And I'll be like, I'm passing up on bad hoes. You know what I mean? And then he's like, oh, say it again. Say it again. I'll be like, passing up on bad hoes. You know what I mean? But fuck, dude. That when me and the day one used to play video games and shit, that was like our our bond, like fucking so tight. That shit was so dope. Cause I'll go over his house. I already said this. I'll go over his house, but we'll play like the latest game. Like, oh, FIFA came out. Oh, we'll play that. These days we play online and shit. You know what I mean? But no, back then it used to be like, like physically here. Like we're here. Like fucking. And I remember the last time we played 2K, bruh. This would beat me by like barely 1 point or 2 points. Just imagine game one of the, what is it, 2000? Was it 2000? 2001. It was the 2001. Yeah, it was 2001. Because 2000, the Lakers beat in 2000. Yeah, it was the Pacers, and then Philadelphia was 2001. Yeah, 2001. Just imagine game one of the fucking, just imagine game one of the fucking finals. And that's literally how our game was. Like, he was going off. He had like 44 with fucking AI. I had 40 with Kobe, but I just didn't use Shaq like that and shit. Like, I didn't know the big man post up moves like that back then, but now I do. Shit, I didn't know the post up moves back then, but now I do. So I'm like real in tune with that shit and stuff like that. Speaking of Kobe, Nike is coming out with some Kobe's. They didn't show. I don't know if it's the triple white. You know what I mean? The all white fucking new Kobe's and stuff. I don't know if those are getting released, but some Kobe shoe is coming out on his birthday, August 23rd this year, 2023. I feel like either on August 23rd or August 24th, they should make that day national. You know how they have like National Go Skate Day, like National Skateboarding Day? I feel like that day should be National Basketball Day. Like everybody, you know what I mean, should partake. Not everybody should, but the ones that, actually you know, love the game of basketball and shit, they should, um, go out to the park, get some friends, go out to the park, get some games, get some runs in for real. They should make one of those days National Basketball Day for real. August 23rd, Kobe's birthday, or 8/24, just in honor of the Mamba. And that's something he would want us to do. You know what I mean? Like, oh, obviously 8/24, remember him for all the fucking astonishing things he did on the court and off the court, just as a human in general. I feel like he'll like, enjoy that, coming together of everyone, coming together, playing basketball and shit like that. You know what I mean? Bringing the competitiveness and shit. That's the main thing. But yeah, they're coming out with the shoe. Let me give my opinion on the all white Kobe's. They changed the fucking tongue. The tongue is like, it's thicker now. It's like a fucking normal, like a normal fucking tongue and shit on any other shoe, with the cushion and all that stuff. We want the OG shit. You know what I mean? So I feel like Nike, they're trying to bring back the old shit, but with new material. You know what I mean? New fabric, new shoe technology, shit like that. You know what I mean? Like the lunar. Y'all remember when it was like, what year was it? What fucking year was it? Because this year, it was like 2011 or 2012. The Hyper Dunks had like some type of like lunar like nylon, whatever the fuck they want to call it. It was like lunar cushion or some shit like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that type of cushion was in the Kobe's and shit. But just, you know what I mean? It was like, it was weird. Because I remember the Kobe 7s when they had the slide on and like the replaceable insole. You would take it out and you would see like the cushion on the forefoot and on the heel and shit. You know what I mean? So that's like the technology we want and shit. These days, they're just probably like, oh, like, nah, just give them whatever. Fuck it. Like, they're Kobe fans. They'll buy it. Whatever. We'll just bring out we'll open up the line again. Just put out whatever. You know what I mean? Like, oh, don't make the tongue the same. Put actual foam, put actual cushion in it and stuff like that. Like, no, like all that extra little small material and shit, that makes the shoe heavier. We want the shoe fucking the same as it was before. We want a light tongue. You know what I mean? A light tongue. We want a light cushion tongue. Like literally, I was talking with one of the homies about this the other day. Let me bring up the what happened? He said, "Bad, locked in. You might get canceled." My boy finna cancel me, bro. One of the homeboys want to come on the show and shit. And don't get me wrong, I'm open to it. Like I'm real open for anybody who wants to come on the podcast and anything like that. But at the same time, I feel like the shit that other people might say or the other shit that people will say on the show, like a guest or whatever, might get me in trouble. Not get me in trouble, but might get me a different outlook on myself and shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you have this homie on here and he's saying this shit. Like, oh, what how does that make you look like? You know what I mean? Coming at me and shit. And then I'll be like, oh, like I'm just the host of the show. He said what he said. That's him. You know what I mean? I got my own opinion and shit like that. You know what I mean? So I just don't want shit like that to happen. But at the same time, like, who gives a fuck? Like, I don't even got 50 subs yet. So it's just like, whatever. It's just talk your shit, bro. Honestly. Yeah, let me pull up the receipts on a bitch. What the fuck? Yo, what the fuck? Yo, where's the homie at? Yo, I just DM'd him yesterday and this shit's gone. Like, what the fuck? My bad, y'all. But yeah, he said some shit about he DM'd me. He was like, oh, what do you think about the new LeBron 21s and shit? And I was like, oh, okay, a lot of cushion on the inside, a lot of suede on the outside. Looks comfy. I fucks with it. And then he said, bruh, I'm pissed. The Protro 8s, talking about Kobe's now, are changing the tongue. And I was like, bro, no, I mean, they try to add today's material and enhance it, but it's like, bruh, I just wanted a copy and paste of the 2011 Kobe 8s material. He said, for real, honestly, disappointed. Or he said, for real, I was disappointed. And I said, that means the shoe ain't going to be as light as it was. Kobe 8s are literally, the Kobe 8s are literally a soccer style basketball shoe. Like, what is it? What's that Mamba Curial? Go look up the Mamba Curials. That's literally a soccer shoe into a basketball shoe. Just, you know what I mean? Just copy and paste, like, you know. And then he said exactly, the 8s are the best basketball shoe to be made for guards. Excuse me, y'all. God damn. And then he said, or I said the Nike shoes from like 2010 to 2012 should be in museums. Those are masterpieces of shoes, from Kobe's line to LeBron's line to KD's line. Because think about it. Or just envision this, or think of that one picture where it's like on Team USA in 2012, Kobe, KD, and LeBron. Look at their shoes, bruh. Look at their fucking shoes. The KD 4s, the USA KD 4s, the USA Kobe 7s. And then it was I think it was like the LeBron 10s, or like, I think it was the LeBron 10s if I'm not mistaken. But fuck, dude, those shits were fucking nice. I fucking love those shoes. Like, I wish I had today's money back then, bruh. Like, literally, I'll fucking, let me get one of the, let me get Kobe 7 Sharks, the Kobe 7 Poison Dart Frogs. Let me get the KD 4s, these, the Olympics or whatever, the fucking Christmas ones and shit. No, not even that. Give me the Galaxy KD 4s. Those are my fucking holy grail, bruh. Those are like my holy grail of KD 4s right there, for real. And my holy grail of Kobe's is like, fuck, dude. There's so much good Kobe's, bruh. Just off the 6s, 7s, and 8s alone, there's so much to choose from. Like, from the 6s, I'm gonna say the All-Star ones, because I really wanted them All-Star ones. Or the Orange County ones, the Sunset ones. You know what I mean? Y'all know which ones I'm talking about. The Sunset ones. It's like orange, fades into yellow. Obviously, it looks like the sunset. What other ones, man? The fucking, from the 7s, the Sharks. Oof, I fucking love the Sharks, bruh. Fuck. I had the Sharks, the Poison Dart Frogs, the Elites. Y'all remember the Elites? The Kobe 7 Elites. It was it was all black, had some gold lining here and there. Like, come on, man. Those are the fucking days, bruh. Like, honestly, I think I would much. This is gonna be a hot take. But I'd rather wear in all pairs, all numbers from 1 to what, like 12 or 13 when they stopped making the Kobe's and shit, or 11. From the 1s to the 12s, 13s, I would literally wear like Kobe's all day instead of like SBs and Jordans and all this extra shit. You know what I mean? Like, I will literally wear Kobe's all day, bro. That's just me. That's just my take. And like the way like I used to style with them and shit. Like, I had that shit on. You know what I mean? He got that shit on though. You know what I mean? But I really, like, don't get it fucked up. I had that shit on though, for real. Damn. What a turn this podcast took. That was literally like freestyle. And I was gonna get into the Nate Diaz and Logan Paul fight, or Jake Paul fight. That shit was whack. I ain't even gonna hold you. That shit was whack. That shit was a snooze fest, bruh. Like, Nate Diaz, like, we know, like, this feels like a, you know, badass and shit, but at the same time, it's like, bro, like, we knew his cardio was trash when we seen that video of him smoking a joint in the boxing ring sparring, bro, or like fucking shadow boxing and shit. I was like, bro, it's a wrap, man. Like, that cardio is not gonna last the whole 10 rounds and shit. But either way, hey, respect to Jake Paul though. Respect to Jake Paul for wanting a rematch, but this time in Nate Diaz world. You know what I mean? The MMA world and shit. So Diaz, you already know that ground game gonna be vicious. What does Nick Diaz say? Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, motherfucker. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, motherfucker. Yo, those fools are fucking sick with it. I remember I used to go to the homie and shit. I used to do the stare down. You know how they do the stare downs and shit where they fucking, where they look at each other and shit? I used to go up to the homie and be like, fucking do that Nate Diaz shit where he go like this and shit. Yo, next time I see that fool, I'm gonna do that shit, bro. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if his girl's around. I'm gonna be like, for real, on a bitch. But moving on to the basketball segment of the show right here. Let me check my fucking. You know better, so you did better, huh? Yeah, I'm getting distracted. I'm sorry. PG and Devin Booker beefing in the offseason. Apparently, Paul George, we know already, just the little time he's been in the podcast game, I feel like, well, obviously PG podcast with Podcast P, Paul George's podcast is number one on Complex's podcast by NBA players. I feel like he got to number one so fast because he got so much guests, especially like the accurate ones, like the fucking timely ones. You know what I mean? The like perfect on time ones. Like, I feel like he just got him like out. He did the podcast or whatever, and then boom, released the episode. I feel like doing that and shit just got him to the top so fast, on top of everyone's list and shit. But big credit, shout outs to Paul George for doing his thing. I wish I had NBA players like that to bring on my podcast and shit. High key, this is not even a low key. This is high key. I'm like, with this podcast shit, I know it's gonna take years for me to pop off, but I know the one thing for sure, my main goal at the end of this podcast is to have, like how Paul George does, the pinpoint, like the accurate fucking guess on the show. I would want I wouldn't say top 5. I would say top 3. Let me shorten it down. I would want Kyrie Irving. I don't give a fuck. And I would want the second one is gonna be it's gonna be probably the toughest guest I'm gonna have on the show. Toughest to reach out and, ask to be on the show with me. Natalia Bryant, Kobe's oldest daughter, or Vanessa Bryant, one or the other, to fill in that 2 spot. And the third one will be, what is that third guest I would want on the show like a fucking, just like a Adam Sandler or a Jim Carrey, bruh. Just like a Adam Sandler or Jim Carrey, just to top it off, bruh. Like, those are my top 3 right there. Those are my top 3. That's if I get one of those guests on the show, that's when I made it. Or that's when I know I made it. You know what I mean? But until then, we're just going to keep going. We're going to keep going for real. But back to the Paul George, Devin Booker beef. Apparently, Paul George had Klay Thompson on his podcast. He asked a couple questions, and then he started getting into the question of trash talking. And PG mentioned Klay Thompson trash talking Booker. So PG brought up Booker. Because at first PG was like, oh, what's your best trash talk moment? And then Klay Thompson was like, like he was thinking about it. And then Paul George comes in, and then he's like, oh, I know you hit Booker with the 4 rings and all this shit. And I was just like, like, you didn't have to do that extra shit. You didn't have to chip that in, chime in with that. And then even Klay Thompson, he was like, oh, that was that was just a bad time. I was getting my ass beat. I was getting my ass kicked or whatever, or Booker was busting my ass or whatever. So I had to, he was like, oh, I was in my feelings. That's the main thing he said. He said, oh, I was in my feelings. But Klay shut it down and gave Devin Booker flowers. He said, oh, like, a guy like Booker, you're supposed to not praise. He didn't say praise, but just, like, give flowers, like, give props to Devin Booker, sticking it through or toughing it out through the struggling years and shit, getting head coach after head coach and shit, playing the point guard and the shooting guard whenever not mix and match here and there and shit like that. So he's just giving them props and shit like that. But he also said like, oh, I was in my feelings. So like that was like, you know, a cringe moment for him, I guess. And Book seeing that, he replied to Klay Thompson first. He said, hey, like salute to Klay Thompson and shit. But also to PG, he said, is that the answer you're looking for? And then Paul George went on his Twitch or whatever. He was streaming. And then I don't know if someone in the chat asked about it, but he mentioned it. And then he said, I asked a question and he gave a response. I don't know what that was supposed to mean. Sorry ass response. The first response he's saying about Klay Thompson, like, oh, I asked a question and he gave a response. And then the second one right here, he said, I don't know what that was supposed to mean. It's to Devin Booker. And then he also added sorry ass response. But I don't know. I feel like PG's been in the league for a long time, bro. Like a long minute. So he's like the OG and shit. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It like just like these last two episodes, I'm like, oh, Dwayne Wade or Chris Paul, whose career would you have? Or Dwayne Wade and James Harden, whose career would you have? This week, it's like, oh, PG or Devin Booker, whose career would you have? And shit like that, man, for real. But it's like shit. Paul George has never made the NBA Finals, let alone the conference finals. Or I believe he did when he was with the Pacers and against Miami and shit like that. I think so. But yeah, I think PG went to the conference finals. But Devin Booker is the only one out of both of them to make the NBA finals and shit. But I don't know. Both of their games are just so real different. They're both shot creators, obviously, but at the same time, like there's a certain pace Paul George has to his game and shit. You know, like he could easily like rock the baby, how they call rock the baby, where they just dribble here, dribble there, and then boom, explode. Like Paul George could do some shit like that. Like Devin Booker, I don't feel like he has that explosiveness to him. God damn, I can't even talk right now. I don't think he has that type of explosiveness to him. So, just little things like that and stuff. Shot making, obviously, you could give it to both, but I don't know if you want to give it to Devin Booker more because, I don't even know, because Devin Booker be hitting tough shots, bro. And Paul George, like he stay getting game winnered on. Isn't there like a video on YouTube, 11 minutes of Paul George getting game winnered on or some shit like that? That's tough. Goddamn, excuse me, y'all. Some goddamn chili cheese fries I had. Fuck. Goddamn. Yeah, back to what I was saying, man. The whole Paul George and Devin Booker shit, I don't even know. Like, both of them can't even talk because, like, I'm not even going to say, like, oh, both of them can't even talk because, like, they in the NBA. I'm not even in the NBA. Like, fuck am I talking about? Shit. But nah, like, this is a real solid, like, beef and shit. You know what I mean? I really want to see this. I really want to see this one-on-one. You know, this is why I feel like the NBA is gonna consider bringing in some, you know, changes to All-Star Weekend. You know, with the whole one-on-one situation. I feel like in order to make things like even, players got to call out certain players. You know what I mean? Like Devin Booker, like this will want to talk about me on this podcast. Yeah, like let me get him in a one-on-one and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like Luka versus who in a one-on-one? Who would you see in a one-on-one versus Luka? I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say Ant Edwards. I don't even know. I would want to see Anthony Edwards versus Luka 1-on-1. You know what I mean? Type shit. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. But yeah, moving on from the whole beef with that, they can settle that when the season starts. Because I already know that, you know, someone's gonna get heated. Moving on to the elephant in the room, Dr. J, Julius Erving. Dr. J, if you ain't know, Julius Erving, the two-time NBA champ with the Philadelphia 76ers, Philadelphia legend, New York legend, Rucker legend. Yeah, Rucker or Dykeman? It was Rucker. I think it's Rucker. Rucker legend. Gave his top 10. I'm going to go through the top 10 and I'm going to say who I would keep in there and who I would swap out or change or just completely, like, you know, don't even put in the top 10. But here we go. So far, the first three, I agree. Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, and Michael Jordan. Easy. All rip. If you don't have those three in your top 10, then you don't know basketball. You a casual. But we got Jerry West, he said. Jerry West. Honestly, I'll switch out Jerry West with a fucking... Oh, what's the fucking name that popped out of my head earlier and I just fucking blanked out right now? Because I know it was a solid player that's like top 10 worthy. But my mind is just going blank right now. Fuck. I should have wrote it down when I first thought of it. Jerry West. Who's better than Jerry West? I will swap Jerry West out with someone because Jerry West, he stays talking shit about the Lakers now. Calling us a shit show and all that shit. Come on now. Nah, this is a Lake show. Fucking lame ass. Fucking lame, man. Who would I swap out Jerry West with? I'm gonna come back to that. But he also added Oscar Robertson. Now that one is easy to swap out with. Russell Westbrook. And I know you're thinking, Russell Westbrook, what the fuck? What Westbrook? Yeah, nah, not like that. Russell Westbrook is pretty much Oscar Robertson, just fucking 2 times, 3 times better. If Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double for 1 season and Russell Westbrook did that same shit for 3 seasons in today's game, come on, bro. Elgin Baylor, respectfully, I say respectfully because Elgin Baylor was in the Army or the Marines or something like that, and he would be like in and out. I don't know if he'll be in and out of basketball or in and out of the Army, Navy, or Marines and stuff, but he did his time in, you know, the Army and stuff, but also did his time on the basketball court and shit, busting people's ass on the basketball court at that. So, you know, respectfully, I would have to swap out Elgin Baylor with no one other than Kobe Bryant. And Jerry West, I would swap him out with Steph Curry. Yeah, pretty much. Swap out Elgin Baylor with Kobe. And the next one, you got Kareem and Magic. I'll leave in there. You have to leave them in there. And Karl Malone, the fucking pedophile. The fucking weirdo rapist and shit. I'm taking out Karl Malone. I'm putting in fucking Tim Duncan. Fuck is you talking about? And this last one, he said, and we gonna go Tiny Archibald. You really gonna put someone in the top 10 whose nickname is Tiny? Tiny. No. And especially like if y'all seen the video, he holds his breath. He's like, yeah, that's my top 10. Like, yeah, you holding your breath because you know you fucked up. You know you fucked up right here. Fucking, you gonna put Nate tiny ass Archibald in a top 10. Bro, you must be off that gas, bro. You must be off that gas. Gasser. Bro, you must be off that gas. Bro, don't even ask who I'm gonna switch out Tiny Archibald with, bruh. Don't even ask me who I'm gonna swap out Tiny Archibald with. I'm gonna swap Tiny Archibald out with LeBron. LeBron. So pretty much right here. Dr. J, I'm gonna give you your new and revamped, re-enhanced version of your own top 10 right here. Here we go. So you started off Bill Russell, respectfully. Will Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, Jerry West, respectfully. I'm going to have to switch out Jerry West with Steph Curry. And Oscar Robertson. Oscar Robertson, respectfully, I'm going to have to switch him out with Russell Westbrook. Elgin Baylor, respectfully, have to switch him out with no one other than the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant. Kareem Magic, respectfully, they could stay. Karl Malone, not the pedophile. Replacing him with Tim Duncan. And Nate Tiny Archibald, replacing him with LeBron. In no order either. So there you go, Dr. J. There's your new top 10. Hope you like it. Hope you rocks with it and shit. Cause that top 10 you gave the first time was a bit sketchy. I ain't gonna lie, it was a bit sketchy. But yeah, hopefully you can maybe replace some players in your top 10, or swap out some players in your top 10. But either way, I feel like that's it. That's the end of this episode right here. Be sure to follow me on my socials, everybody. I hate repeating myself. I think I'm gonna just put this button as the my social thing. So either way, follow me on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, same as always. NoSignalMondo. TikTok, Uncle Mondo 7. Podcast, Instagram, NoSignalPod. For the listeners, obviously, No Signal Podcast. And yeah, follow my kick.com/BeanMondo. I streamed the other day. I don't know if it's still up, if y'all want to go watch that. But either way, that's it. See y'all next time. Peace and one love. Love yourself before you love anyone else. Peace.